college football. The Big Ten allegedly had voted to cancel the season by a 12-2 vote. That was later then denied by members of the Big Ten, who are now expected to be meeting really as we speak. They were expected to meet this morning at 10:30 to further discuss the details of the season. We're pleased to be joined now to get a little more detail and insight into that from Fox 2 sports anchor Woody Woodriffe once again on the Oakland County Megacast. Woody, thank you for being with us today.
No problem, Tyler. How are you? Hi, Ronnie.
Doing well. How are you?
Great.
Wonderful. So Woody, the Big Ten considering canceling their football season. Of course, we saw last week the MAC, which features colleges such as Central Michigan, canceling their season. Where is the Big Ten at right now? Do you believe that they are going to cancel all fall sports, including football, after what went down on Monday this week?
Well, right now the Big Ten is in disarray because, as you mentioned earlier, there was a rumor that that there was a 12-2 vote to cancel the season, and then there was meetings going on. As you mentioned, there's a meeting going on right now. I personally believe that they will be forced to cancel the season. I don't see how anyone can play. You have to leave this up to the medical experts, and that's also what's happening in the Pac-12. They are also meeting today, and they're leaving it up to the medical experts. And right now, everybody's saying you can't play football in college because, let's be honest, who is advocating for the players? You still have to talk to their parents about, wanting to come in. This is not the pros. So I don't see how you can have this and let it go on this year with any kind of fall sport. Let's be honest.
Woody Woodriffe with us from Fox 2 Sports on the Oakland County Megacast. And after the news did break earlier on the day yesterday about that alleged 12-2 vote, we had immediate pushback from a lot of people, including players and locally coaches such as Michigan's football coach Jim Harbaugh, who had put out an entire note on social media about the protocols in place at the University of Michigan, where they have not had any issues so far with COVID-19. What's your thoughts on what could happen if the Big Ten does cancel the season, knowing that there are other conferences such as the SEC who are openly inviting teams to join their conference should seasons be canceled by other conferences?
Tyler, I heard that and I laughed out loud because, let's be honest, okay? It would cost hundreds of millions of dollars for a team, let's say a team in the Big Ten, to leave the conference for 1 year, and we don't even know if they're going to play a season. That is ridiculous. So I'm not even going to consider that kind of consideration for college football. What I think needs to happen is everybody needs to just take a step back and not play. I mean, I understand. You're hearing Jim Harbaugh, you're hearing James Franklin, you're hearing a lot of the other big guys come out and say that they should play. But you notice that these are guys who, really don't have any university president over them saying, hey, hold on. I mean, it's not like I'm going to see, somebody like Ward Manuel come up to Jim Harbaugh and say, hey, tone that down a little bit. That's not happening. So, yeah, you can say that. It's a good game. It sounds good to the fan base and all that kind of stuff, but they are not going to play. We've seen this before in the NCAA basketball tournament, okay? It was one team pulling out, then it was a conference pulling out, then the tournament was canceled, right? We saw this already. So what are we seeing now? We're seeing the MAC pull out. We're going to see the Pac-12 and the Big Ten probably pull out. And then you're talking about these Power Five maybe getting together to do something. No, it's not going to happen, Tyler. I don't think so at all.
What about the argument that these students are still going to be on college campus, still exposed to COVID-19? So why not let them play, but maybe even put them in somewhat of a bubble of their own and maybe let them go to classes remotely?
Ronnie, part of that is legitimate because I would say that some players are probably better in the bubble in colleges as opposed to being, back at home and, doing whatever they're doing back in their own neighborhoods. So at least that way you could control it because the football team would be separated or, the team would be separated from the regular population on the campus. But I don't know how this is, supposed to work. It's still a fluid situation. There's protocols at certain schools that are not the same at other schools. So until there's something uniform, I don't see how this can happen. I just don't.
Woody Woodriffe with us. He is a sports anchor at Fox 2 Detroit with us on the Oakland County Megacast. And another Another proposal that's been thrown out there, not an official proposal, but speculation, has been the potential of moving the football season to the spring. I personally think that that's just a ridiculous idea altogether, and it's not going to happen. It interferes with NFL draft season. You're going to lose a lot of those key players that are the attraction to a lot of these Power 5 teams and these major top 25 teams as well. Do you believe that there is any chance that even if that is the case where these players wouldn't be playing because they're pursuing the draft, that potentially the NCAA could say we're going to delay the season and move it to the spring?
Well, I think that the two schools of thought right now are either canceling the season entirely or waiting until September 26th. I don't know why that date is out there, but that's maybe the two schools of thought that are going forward. And with those two schools of thought, there's only really one way to go, and that's not to play. But to get back to your question, Tyler, I mean, yes, this is a fluid situation. Yes, this is, something where people want to play. People want to go out. I've seen players come out and say that, hey, we want to go out and play. But until there's some kind of, agreement or whatever, I mean, let's be honest, this could start some kind of players union in college, which would perhaps upset the entire framework of what college football is. The amateurism and everything would go out of it. And then you have revenue sharing and all other kinds of things that you have in the NFL. So, I don't know if everybody wants this kind of thing, but it's out there and it could be coming in the longer this thing goes, as guys want to play. Guys may just organize anyway, just to have the conditions of playing uniform all the way through. So we'll see what happens.
On a local level, with the NCAA potentially going to have Power 5 conferences canceling their season as soon as today, we're still just a couple weeks out from a Thursday. It's exactly 2 weeks out from the beginning of the high school football season. High school sports are already having their fall practices. Those began officially on August 10th for football. Contact allowed practices begin on August 17th. Do you believe that the MHSAA is going to be close behind in making a decision potentially to move or cancel many or all of the moderate to high risk fall sports?
I think they may have to. I mean, let's play this out, okay? Let's say that you play, and some high school kids, catch COVID-19, and then there's long-term effects here and those kinds of things. Nobody wants to be on the side that said, oh, you know what? Those guys went and played anyway. No. Let's err on the side of caution here. And if that means, hey, taking a step back and just putting everything on hold, let's do that, because I don't want to be the guy to be reporting that, hey, 14, kids on a team, have COVID-19 and now, they're shutting this down, they're shutting that down, seasons are going out. No, I don't think that's going to happen either. Now, I give everyone credit because since there is no, real plan in place to stop or go, everyone is continuing as they are going to go. I mean, practices are still happening and things like that. They're trying to be as safe as possible. But again, I don't see how that happens in a contact sport like football. Let's just take the offensive and defensive lines. Every play is contact. So how do you distance that? How do you protect against that? Are masks all of a sudden being made inside helmets? I have not heard of that construction happening. I mean, the NCAA is starting just today to look at things in the future where they should have been looking, months ago. So it's a jumble right now, and to pull out one line of thinking that, hey, maybe high school football could do it, or maybe college football could do it. I don't see either one. Pros are different. The pro game is different because they have a players union and they can bargain this stuff and they can, talk about the steps that they want to take in order to play again. And then you can take that risk. But for kids and college kids, I can't see that.
How much of this is about the money? Because these programs make a ton of cash for these schools.
Ronnie, you know what? That's a great question, because I was hearing a report the other day about Wisconsin, and if they don't play college football, they could lose $100 million. Now, that tells me what? That tells me college football brings in a lot of money. It also tells me that if you do play college football, then you're only in it for the money. So then the hypocrisy comes out. Are students really students, or are they athletes? It may have to be athlete student instead of student athlete if you continue to go this way. And then that opens the door to forming the unions. And I don't know if the universities really want to see that come up anytime soon, because it would change the framework of how they do business.
Woody Woodriffe with us on the Oakland County Megacast. He is a sports anchor at Fox 2 Detroit, and you can find him there, Channel 2, all throughout the local Metro Detroit area. Woody, moving on to the NFL, they're still continuing forward, planning for beginning their season next month, just a little over a month away. We have seen some positive tests in the league and some false positive tests even as locally as Detroit, most notably with quarterback Matt Stafford of the Detroit Lions. Where do you see the progress going, and what are you hearing as of now in terms of the NFL's decision-making regarding the start of their season?
The NFL, they seem to have taken it up a notch and really locked down on distancing and, protocols in place to make sure that at least the team, while it's there, is safe and everyone's healthy. I mean, you mentioned Matthew Stafford getting that false positive. I mean, that also tells you that there are, questions in the testing itself. And, let's be honest, if that happened on a Friday, Matthew Stafford probably would have missed that game on Sunday, and then you get a false positive. Oh boy, that would start a whole ball of wax going downhill. So let's just stay away from that. But right now, guys are going into a quarantine for like 14 days. If they test positive, they're on the NFL's COVID-19 reserve list. And once they get through that, then they can come off it and become active again with the teams. So the Lions had 8 guys on there. I believe 4 or 5 have come off. The last guys coming off was T.J. Hawkinson and Amani Oruwariye, the cornerback. So the Lions are getting healthier, we could say, as training camp gets set to kick into the actual physical part of it, because since a couple of weeks ago, it's been virtual. And Matt Patricia and his coaching staff have been dealing with players and Zoom calls and doing it that way. But Tyler and Ronnie, as we all know, football is a physical game, and practices come, and then we'll see what happens. I mean, until guys get together. I mean, guys are in the building and they're doing strength and conditioning things, but it's easy to distance with that. Once it comes to the actual playing, let's see what happens. Hopefully everyone has maintained the protocols when they're away from the building, and they can stay safe that way.
Will there be fans in the seats when the Lions have their season opener?
There was a lot of talk about that, but again, that's something that I don't see how they can have fans in the seats. There are sports right now that do have fans in the seats, most notably overseas and some of the soccer leagues and things like that. But I think they have that because they really took some serious control steps early to put guys in bubbles and make sure that countries were locked down so that fans and just spectators would be okay as well. Here in this country, it's so different from state to state. There's different rules. People don't want to wear a mask here. People want to wear a mask there. So there's been no blanket statement to say, hey, everybody do this. So it's been up to different states. So that means that you're going to have different rules. And I don't see how, different rules can lead to a same result.
Woody, lastly, the Detroit Tigers are off to a really hot start in Major League Baseball. 9-5, they're half game back from the Minnesota Twins at the top of the AL Central. Many days we've woken up shocked. The Detroit Tigers are at the top of the American League Central. They're surging right now. They're playing great. They're playing great ball. Over the weekend, they had a game where they scored 17 runs, and they had a game where they had almost four consecutive home runs against Pittsburgh. Do you believe that the Tigers have the ability to keep this going long term throughout this shortened season and potentially make a playoff run playing the ball that they're playing?
Anything's possible in a 60-game sprint. If you get hot, you don't have to finish, 59-1. All you really have to do is kind of be maybe 26, 27, 28 wins would get you into the playoff field, an expanded playoff field. So the Tigers could do it. I mean, if they continue to play like this, And you know what? I have to give them a lot of credit because so far their COVID-19 protocols have worked perfectly. The Tigers have had no real, cases or players having to come out or anything like that, unlike the Marlins and the Cardinals and other teams where it's like doubleheader city through the rest of the 60-game schedule for those teams. So I like what the Tigers are doing. I'm also enjoying what the bullpen is doing, even picking up some of those starters because Matt Boyd has been a bit shaky to start with. We did see Michael Fulmer and Daniel Norris both come back and pitch very well the other night. So yeah, Tyler, I'm excited about the Tigers and to see them go into Pittsburgh. That they did what they had to do in Pittsburgh. Let's be honest. Coming into that series, the Pirates were 3-10. Okay, so yeah, if the Tigers had gone in there and say lost 3, it would have looked terrible. But you go in there, you beat up on a bad team, you do what you're supposed to do, and then you come back. I believe they're playing the White Sox now. So yeah, the Tigers looking really good right now. Let's see this continue because Ron Gardenhire is a good guy, and I like to see positive things happen for him. He's a great class act.
He is excellent manager. The Tigers with some key games in the Central Division coming up against the Chicago White Sox. Woody, anything else for us today?
They also play the Cleveland Indians after that. I think with a couple of games squeezed in against the Cardinals, possibly. I don't know how the schedule is going to work. And that's another thing. The scheduling, I hope it doesn't come back to, bite a lot of these teams at the end because with 7-inning doubleheaders, you'll be having to play all the time. I enjoy what the NHL and the NBA are doing because their bubbles seem to be working and guys are, staying safe. The NHL specifically, I don't think there's been one positive test in the NHL lately. I have to check that to be sure, but I have not heard anything about that. And then, of course, they're back to Stanley Cup hockey and teams are being eliminated in the qualifying round. So it's good to see that, and it's also good to see basketball as well, and the Tigers, of course. So I'm happy about everything, but college and high school sports, Tyler and Ronnie, again, I don't think we're going to see it.
Woody, just before we let you go, the last time we had you on, we didn't have enough time. It was at the end of the show to talk about the Detroit Red Wings. Now, the New York Rangers yesterday get the #1 overall pick. They're going to take Patrick Ewing. They're going to take Patrick Ewing in the draft. The Red Wings, of course, worst record in the league, and they end up with the fourth overall pick. Your thoughts on the NHL draft lottery and the results from yesterday?
Well, the Red Wings still got screwed back at the draft lottery. Okay, so I'm still smarting about that. So, to have a team that was basically in the playoffs be able to pick first is just unconscionable. And, if one of these good playoff teams like a Pittsburgh or even the Rangers or something like that, go at #1 and take Alexis Lafreniere, the hands-down favorite #1 pick from Canada, it's just going to be so bad. It's just going to be so bad. I know the Red Wings pick 4th, and yes, there will be a quality player there at 4th for Steve Yzerman to select, but oh, come on. It was all set up for Detroit. You mentioned it. They had the worst record in the league. They had the highest chance, but the way this quirky, draft lottery thing works out, of course it was going to be something bizarre because the draft lottery was bizarre. How could you combine, 2 teams' chances? I just don't even want to get into that. It's just terrible. But let's see if the Red Wings can continue this rebuild and keep going full steam ahead because there will be quality guy there at #4.
Woody, appreciate having you on with us.
Oh, it's not a problem. I'm happy to be here. You guys have a great day.
You as well. Woody Woodriffe, Fox 2 sports anchor with us on the Oakland County Megacast.